Resilience isn't something you're born with. It's built brick by brick, moment by moment, choice by choice. So today, let's talk about things that help us stand back up when life knocks us down. When we don't acknowledge what we're going through, it owns us. But when we name it, when we say, I'm grieving, I'm exhausted, I feel like I'm failing, it loses some of its power. Research shows that language shapes our experience, and putting words to pain is the first step toward moving through it. Here's why this matters. Our brains are wired for clarity. When we face something difficult, our nervous system kicks into high gear. Heart pounding, mind racing, stomach in knots. It's our survival instinct. But the brain doesn't just react to what's happening, it tries to make meaning out of it. And if we don't consciously name our struggle, our brain will name it for us, usually with a story that isn't kind. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed. Did you pause and say, wow, this is a lot, I'm feeling anxious? Or did your mind start running an unconscious script? I can't handle this, I'm failing, what's wrong with me? That's the difference. When we name an emotion, when we say this is fear or this is uncertainty or this is grief, we create a space between what we feel and what we make it mean. And research tells us that this space, it's everything, because in that space we get to choose how we respond. Neuroscientists call this affect labeling. Studies show that when we put words to difficult emotions, it reduces activity in the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fear and threat detection. In simple terms, when we name what we're feeling, we calm our nervous system. We move from reaction to awareness. And when we're aware, we can actually deal with what's in front of us. But here's the challenge. Most of us weren't raised to name hard emotions. We were raised to push through, toughen up, or distract ourselves. And if we did express something difficult, we were often met with, it's not that bad, or you'll be fine, or other people have it worse. So we learned to bury it, to minimize it, to keep moving. The problem is, unspoken emotions don't disappear. They don't politely leave the room because we ignore them. They sit there waiting, and when we suppress them long enough, they find a way to make themselves known. Through stress, exhaustion, short tempers, or feeling completely shut down. So the work here isn't just to name our struggles, it's to give ourselves permission to name them without judgment. Not, I'm exhausted, but I shouldn't be. Not, I'm anxious, but I need to get over it. Just, I'm exhausted, just, I'm anxious, full stop. Because here's what I know, clarity is kindness. And the most compassionate thing we can do for ourselves in hard times is to get clear on what we're actually feeling, not what we think we should feel, not what we've been told to feel, what we actually feel. And once we do that, we can move forward, not by pretending everything's fine, not by forcing positivity, but by telling the truth about where we are so we can take the next right step. When life gets hard, most of us don't just struggle with the situation, we struggle with what we make it mean. I should be stronger. Other people have it worse. If I were better, I wouldn't be here. That's shame talking. And the thing about shame, it only survives in silence. The antidote, speak it. Find someone who can hold space for your story without judgment. Shame is sneaky. It doesn't walk in and announce itself. It whispers. It disguises itself as self-doubt, perfectionism, isolation. And when we're already struggling, when we're tired, overwhelmed, or barely holding on, that voice gets louder. It doesn't just say, this is hard. It says, you're failing. It doesn't just say you're going through something difficult. It says you are the problem. And that's where we get stuck. Because when we believe that struggle is a sign of weakness, we start hiding. We tell people we're fine when we're anything but. We put on a brave face and push through, hoping no one notices how much we're hurting. And worst of all, we cut ourselves off from the exact thing that could help us heal: connection. Here's what the research says. Shame thrives in secrecy. It grows when we keep it hidden. But the moment we speak it, when we say, I'm struggling, or I feel like I'm not enough, or I don't know how to get through this, something shifts. It loses its grip, not because saying it out loud magically fixes everything, but because shame can't survive being spoken. There's a study on this, and I think about it all the time. Researchers found that when people shared their hardest experiences with someone who responded with empathy, their stress levels literally decreased. Their cortisol levels dropped. Their bodies registered safety. Not because the problem was solved, but because they were no longer alone in it. That's the power of connection. But here's the tricky part. When we're deep in struggle, the last thing we want to do is reach out. It feels easier to retreat, to disappear for a while, to figure it out on our own. We tell ourselves we don't want to be a burden, that no one will understand, that we should be able to handle this. But handling it doesn't mean doing it alone. Resilience isn't built in isolation. It's built in relationship. In the moments when someone looks at us right in the middle of our mess and says, I see you, I hear you, you're not alone. And listen, this doesn't mean sharing everything with everyone. Not everyone has earned the right to hear your story. But find your people, the ones who can sit with you in your struggle without rushing to fix it or dismiss it. The ones who can hold space for your pain without judgment. Because the biggest lie shame tells us is that we're alone, that no one else has been where we are, that if people knew what we were really going through, they'd think less of us. But the truth is we are wired for connection. And when we find the courage to speak what we're going through, to say this is hard and I need support, we don't just break the silence, we break shame's hold on us. And that's how we start to heal. The hardest part of any journey isn't the beginning when motivation is high, and it's not the end when we can see the finish line. It's the middle, the messy, uncertain, I have no idea if this will work middle. The research calls this the second day effect, when the initial excitement wears off and the doubt creeps in. The key, stay. Just stay. This middle part, it's brutal. It's where things stop feeling new and exciting and start feeling like work. It's where the adrenaline fades and the reality of how long the road ahead actually is sets in. It's where the story in our head starts to sound a lot like, why did I even start this? Or maybe I'm just not meant for this. And that's when people quit, not because they aren't capable, but because the middle makes us question everything. Researchers have studied this in everything from personal growth to business to relationships. They call it the messy middle because it's exactly that, messy. It's the point where people are most likely to give up, not because they're failing, but because they don't feel like they're making progress. And when we don't see progress, we start to wonder if it's even worth it. But here's what I know. The middle is where the real work happens. The middle is where we grow. Because beginnings are full of promise and endings are full of celebration. But the middle is where we decide who we are. I've seen this play out in every area of life. Someone starts therapy, excited to finally work through old patterns. And then 3 months in, they feel worse before they feel better. Someone starts a new job, thrilled about the opportunity. And then 6 months in, they wonder if they made a mistake. Someone commits to a goal, writing a book, training for a marathon, building a business. And then halfway through, they hit a wall and start questioning everything. And in those moments, the most dangerous thought isn't, I can't do this. It's, this shouldn't be this hard. Because that's when we start believing the lie that struggle means we're doing something wrong. But struggle doesn't mean we're off track. It means we're in the middle. And the middle is supposed to be hard. The key isn't avoiding the middle or trying to rush through it. It's getting curious about it. Instead of asking, why is this so hard? Ask, what is this hard part teaching me? Instead of assuming struggle means failure, remind yourself that struggle is the work. And listen, I get it. No one likes the middle. We love beginnings. We love endings. But the middle is where we build the resilience that carries us forward. It's where we push through self-doubt. It's where we keep going, not because it's easy, but because we've learned that hard things aren't a reason to quit. They're proof that we're doing something that matters. So when you're in the middle of something hard, when you're knee deep in doubt, when you can't see the finish line, when you want to give up, just stay long enough to see what's on the other side. Because the people who make it through the middle, they're the ones who realize that's where the magic happens. Sometimes we can't find hope on our own. That's okay. That's why connection exists. Neuroscience tells us that being seen and supported by others literally rewires our brain's ability to process stress. So when you can't believe in yourself, borrow belief from someone who does. There's this myth that resilience is a solo act, that the strongest people are the ones who figure it all out on their own. But that's not how resilience actually works. In fact, research shows the opposite. The people who make it through hard times aren't the ones who go it alone. They're the ones who know when to lean on others. They're the ones who let someone else hold the hope when they can't hold it for themselves. We are wired for connection. It's not just a nice idea, it's biology. When we're overwhelmed, uncertain, or struggling, our nervous system looks for cues of safety. And do you know the most powerful cue? Another human being. Someone who looks at us, listens to us, and says, I see you, I hear you, you're not alone in this. That kind of support doesn't just feel good, it actually changes how our brain responds to stress. There's a study that I think about all the time. Researchers found that when people were asked to stand at the base of a steep hill and estimate how hard it would be to climb, those who stood alone saw the hill as steeper, but the ones who stood next to a friend, they saw it as less steep. The hill hadn't changed, but their perception of what was possible had. That's what borrowing belief looks like. It's saying, right now, this feels impossible. But if you believe I can keep going, maybe I can hold on to that just long enough to take the next step. And let me be clear, this isn't about false positivity. It's not about surrounding yourself with people who will just tell you what you want to hear. It's about finding the ones who will sit with you in the hard moments, acknowledge the struggle, and still remind you that you're capable of more than you think. The ones who will say, yeah, this is tough, and I know you can do it. But here's the tricky part. When we're struggling, the instinct is often to pull away, to isolate, to say, I don't want to bother anyone, or I should be able to handle this myself. And that's shame talking. Because shame's number one goal is to keep us alone. It tells us that asking for help makes us weak, that leaning on someone else is a burden, that no one will understand. But the truth is that we were never meant to do this alone. The strongest people I know aren't the ones who never struggle. They're the ones who, in their hardest moments, reach out and say, can you remind me that I can do this? So if you're in a place where you're doubting yourself, where everything feels too big, where you're not sure you have it in you to keep going, find someone who sees what you can't see right now. Let them remind you of your own strength. Because when we can't find the belief in ourselves, the next best thing is to borrow it. Pain is a powerful teacher, but only if we're willing to listen. Struggle isn't just something to endure, it's something that can shape us if we let it. The question isn't, why is this happening to me, but what is this teaching me? The people who come out stronger aren't the ones who avoid struggle, they're the ones who learn from it. Here's what I know. No one signs up for hard times. No one wakes up in the morning and says, you know what, I'd really love a season of deep struggle. But if we're alive long enough, we all get a front row seat to pain, loss, uncertainty, failure, rejection. And when we're in it, the instinct is to resist, to fight it, to get through it as fast as possible so we don't have to feel it anymore. But here's the thing, resistance doesn't get us through, it keeps us stuck. The more we fight against struggle, the more exhausted we become. Because pain doesn't just disappear when we ignore it. It sits there, waiting. And if we don't turn toward it with curiosity, we miss the lessons it's trying to teach us. Now, I want to be clear about something. I am not saying that everything happens for a reason or that struggle is some kind of gift wrapped in suffering. Some things that happen to us are unfair, heartbreaking, or downright cruel. But even in the hardest moments, we have a choice. Will this break me or will this shape me? Resilient people, the ones who move through struggle and come out stronger, aren't the ones who never feel pain. They're the ones who engage with it, who ask, what is this revealing about me? What is this showing me about what I value? There's research on post-traumatic growth that I think about a lot. It shows that while trauma and hardship can absolutely be destructive, they can also lead to profound personal growth. Not because pain is good, but because the process of working through it changes us. People who experience deep struggle and actively engage with it often report a stronger sense of purpose, deeper empathy, and greater appreciation for life. But the key is engagement. Growth doesn't come from simply going through hard times. It comes from learning through them. And that requires us to get curious, to stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what can I take from this? What does this reveal about what I need? How can this shape the way I move forward? And listen, I get it. When you're in the middle of something painful, this can feel impossible. When you're barely holding on, the idea of learning from it can feel like too much. And that's okay. The lesson doesn't have to come all at once. But even in the smallest ways, when we shift from resisting pain to engaging with it, we start to take back our power. Because struggle, as painful as it is, also has the potential to refine us, to clarify what matters, to make us more whole. Not by avoiding it, not by pretending it doesn't hurt, but by being willing to sit with it, listen to it, and allow it to shape us into something stronger. Hard times will test you. They'll make you question yourself. They'll push you to the edge of what you think you can handle, but they will not break you. Not if you refuse to let them. Not if you lean into connection instead of isolation. Not if you remind yourself that struggle isn't proof of failure. It's proof that you're in the middle of something that matters. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to keep going. Step by step, moment by moment.